Ladies and gentlemen, we hope your flight with our airline will be easy and pleasant. I snapped my eyes open. Yeah, right, pleasant. The seats are fit for dwarves. The cabin is stuffy and it's packed with people. They were supposed to serve food an hour ago. I'm never flying this airline again. I was on a flight from Moscow to Novosibirsk to see my family and meet up with friends. I hadn't seen them in about 5 years, ever since I moved to the capital. Not a word. How are you doing, bro? Son, we miss you so much. You should come visit. Gotten too proud in your fancy Moscow? What about Pasha? Those were the kinds of messages my friends and family sent me.
And what about me? Work. Always this damn work. It leaves no time for life at all. So I took my first vacation in all these years and rushed home. The guys had already made plans, fishing, the river, the dacha, barbecues. Everything by the book, just like the old days. We used to spend every weekend like that. Man, I missed my boys. And my parents, they were starting to show their age. During our last phone call, my mom cried nonstop, begging me to come, saying something about a bad feeling. How are they doing? I never handled flights well. A terrible fear of flying, plus I'm 6'3". For people like me, a plane is a living hell. And I'd been in this hell for the last 3 hours.
I got lucky with my seat, too. I checked in early for a window, but something went wrong, and they gave me a ticket for seat 34E. An image immediately flashed in my mind. Me, spending 4 hours squeezed between two random neighbors. I have to say, I'm not the slimmest guy, so any seat on a plane feels tight, which makes 34E a total screw job, to put it mildly. I tried to argue, of course, but the girl at the counter just threw up her hands. So I spent the last 3 hours sitting in the very back, listening to the endless slamming of the bathroom door, occasionally inhaling some not-so-pleasant smells. To my left sat a mother with a child who was screaming like he was being murdered and kicking me in the leg. To my right was a fat guy whose snoring was truly Herculean. The only good thing about it was that the snoring sometimes drowned out the kids crying, but really all those annoying sounds had long since merged in my head and turned into a vicious migraine. During another one of his tantrums, the kid suddenly fell silent and stared right into my eyes. For a second, it seemed like the little boy wanted to tell me something. But then, he matter-of-factly stuck his finger up his nose, dug around, and then wiped the contents on the sleeve of my not-so-cheap jacket. That's it, I'm done. I jumped out of my seat, not too politely waking up the fat guy to let me pass. Squeezing my way to the restroom area, I yanked back the curtain and burst into where the flight attendants usually were. One of them was sitting on a jump seat, nervously fiddling with her uniform scarf, twisting it this way and that. Her movements were fast, convulsive, very agitated. Her breathing was ragged, wheezes, and a creepy gurgle escaping from her chest. Is she sick or something? The last thing I needed was to catch some bug here. I coughed softly to get her attention. Excuse me, can you tell me how much longer we have to fly? Why haven't they served the food yet? But she said nothing, just stood there, staring at me. Maybe you at least have a pill for a headache? The same polite smile, the glassy stare, not a word in response. Ma'am, are you okay? Can you at least say something to me? Is there anyone else here? Another flight attendant? The frozen mask continued to stare right into my eyes without saying a word. Very strange, I thought. What's with her? Maybe she's deaf. Some kind of inclusion program where they hire deaf-mute employees. That's trendy now. I gave up my ridiculous attempts and went to find another flight attendant. Maybe she could tell me what the hell was going on. There were no crew members in the back of the cabin, so I headed to the front.
As soon as I took the first step, the plane started shaking violently. But the seatbelt sign didn't light up, and there was no announcement. Just a little turbulence. I tried to calm myself. It's nothing, it happens. However, my body betrayed my fear. A cold sweat broke out on my back. I started trembling. The headache intensified, pulsing in my temples. I had to find someone, anyone on this damn plane who could tell me what was happening. Why are we shaking so much? Where is the entire crew? Why haven't they even offered us drinks yet? Damn it! It was clear this wasn't just bad service. Something else was going on, and I had to find out what. What if we're slowly falling right now and are about to crash and we don't even know it? Maybe something happened to the pilot or the engine. Maybe a bird got in there. I've seen that in movies.
The most horrible scenarios raced through my mind. Here we are, falling and landing in water. Where would that come from? We're not flying over an ocean after all. That picture was replaced by another. Something explodes and the plane catches fire. People are screaming. There's a smell of burnt hair and human flesh. Yeah, no oxygen masks are gonna save you from that, I thought with a bitter smirk. I had to find out what was happening. Because of the violent shaking, I moved slowly. Along the way, I looked at the passengers. In row 32, a mother sat with a child on her lap. Nothing strange, it seemed, but the child looked to be about 14. He sat, without blinking, without moving. His face was a grayish color, and his mother was cradling him like he was a baby, quietly humming something in his ear. Tears were rolling down her face. Strange, I thought. Maybe the kid is sick with something. Mentally ill? I made a mental note to approach the woman on my way back and offer help. You never know. To the left, in row 30, sat a middle-aged man in a naval officer's cap. He sat bolt upright, his back not touching the seat. Military posture, you could tell right away. Hands on his knees, feet set firmly apart. As I came alongside him, I stumbled awkwardly as the plane lurched again. The man turned his head, and I recoiled. The left half of his face was a grimace of a sad clown. The corner of his mouth drooped. His eye bulged to its limit, while the right half was perfectly fine. The man looked at me with his right eye and said nothing, and I hurried on as fast as I could. The plane was shaking mercilessly, and my head continued to split as if an axe had been buried in the back of it. I felt sick. During another jolt of turbulence, I nearly fell and only managed to stay on my feet by a miracle. My fear grew with the shaking. Seeing a free seat nearby, I had decided to sit down, to catch my breath, collect myself, and wait out the turbulence. "Don't be shy, make yourself at home," said the woman sitting next to me. "This is my husband's seat, but he stepped away and is unlikely to ever come back." A weird joke, I thought, but said aloud, "Funny. I'll just be a minute until this turbulence calms down." "Be my guest. I could use the company, honestly. In all this time, I've started to miss normal human conversation. What's your name? What do you do?" "Pavel," I introduced myself. "I'm a lawyer." "And why do you miss it? We've only been flying for 3 hours." In response, the woman laughed brightly and said, "That's a good profession. Before all this, I was a surgeon." Then her face suddenly became serious and a little sad. "Well, now I'm here, and I can't heal anyone anymore." She spread her hands. "Why can't you? By the way, I could use a doctor. You don't happen to have a pill for a headache, do you?" My neighbor laughed loudly again, slapped my arm, and said, "You're funny. The best quality in a man. Come by more often. My name's Anya, by the way." I forced a smile in return, nodded, and walked on. So much for a doctor, I thought. It's clear I'm not getting any help here. I walked on and saw something strange in the 15th row. A girl was sitting there, more like a girl of about 10. Blood was flowing non-stop from her nose, and she just sat there, smiling quietly to herself, staring into space. "Miss, you're bleeding." I offered her my handkerchief. "Are you okay? How are you feeling? Should I get someone?" She turned to me, and I saw that a thin stream of blood was flowing not only from her nose, but also from her ear. It trickled in a lively stream, dripping onto her bare, thin knees. "It's all the plane," she said with a smile. "Have you seen my dad?" "Dad! Dad!" she screamed, louder and louder. People around us looked on disapprovingly, clicking their tongues. For some reason, I was the object of their disapproval. "Can someone help her? Where's your dad? Did he go somewhere? Maybe to the bathroom? Let's look for him together. You want to?" But the girl was already hysterical. She shook her head, splattering blood everywhere, and shrieked in an inhuman voice, "Dad! Why are you all just sitting there like you're frozen? Can't you see she needs help?" A woman in the next row shooshed me angrily, as if we were in a library and I had offended her with my loud tone. "What is wrong with these people?" I muttered helplessly. "You just wait, okay? I'll go get help. Everything'll be fine. We'll find your dad. Where could he have gone anyway?" I hurried on as fast as I could, trying to keep my balance. Why doesn't anyone else care about this poor girl? As if they see someone bleeding out and calling for their dad every day. I have to help her. I guess she can't expect help from anyone else. I winced at the thought. I could use some help myself. My head was literally splitting open from the inside. Black spots danced before my eyes from the pain. I could barely think straight. Probably my blood pressure, a thought flashed in my mind. Suddenly, the lights in the plane went out. That's it. It's the end, I thought. This is definitely the end. We're going to crash, and my family will never know where my body is. I was shaking. I'm not going to make it anywhere. At least I don't have to go back to work. So there are some upsides. I listened to my own thoughts and realized I was starting to lose my mind. Get a grip. It's going to be okay. But it had to get a grip. And how? The plane started shaking violently again. I fell and landed with my cheek on a passenger's lap. Strangely, I heard no screams in response, no outrage, not any reaction at all. When I tried to get up, my hand landed in something soft, slimy, disgusting. For a second, I thought it was guts or some other internal organs. No, I wasn't imagining it. In the dim emergency light, I saw that the stomach of the girl whose lap I had landed on was torn open. Her intestines were hanging in ribbons on either side of the seat. Blood was darkening everywhere. Next to her lay a sleeping, no, more like a dead man. Looking closer, I saw that his arm had been torn off, and black blood was oozing from the wound. I froze, unable to even blink. When I finally did blink, the light suddenly came back on and the plane leveled out. In front of me sat the same girl with a round, pregnant belly and a guy with two perfectly normal, healthy arms, one of which he was using to squeeze his companion's knee. "I'm sorry, I fell. It shook really hard," I stammered hastily. In response, the girl just glanced at my face with a detached, indifferent look. I walked on, trying to process what I had just seen. I must have imagined it. My nerves were on edge. Or maybe it was the headache. I'd heard you can have hallucinations from pain sometimes. "Sonny, help me. I've spilled everything. Stupid old woman, clumsy hands. Will you help?" I turned my head and saw a withered old woman. She looked strange in the setting of the plane. A grimy headscarf, several layers of clothes, an old coat on top. Where's she flying? How did she even get here? Another mystery. Coming a little closer, I saw something white scattered around the old woman. She probably spilled her pills, it dawned on me. I rushed to help. Sit down, I'll be quick. It's so turbulent, it's no wonder you spilled your medicine. Wait, not medicine. Leaning down, I saw that what lay around the old woman were real human teeth. 24 human teeth, pulled out by the roots. I gasped in horror and disgust. What's the matter, Sonny? If you've got something there, don't you worry. One more, one less. I'm used to it, she mumbled, and bringing her face close to mine, she smiled with a terrifying, toothless mouth. She smelled of the grave. I jerked back and practically scrambled away from the horrifying old woman on all fours. This isn't a plane, it's a madhouse, I thought. They've gathered all the lunatics here. I wonder what I did to deserve a seat on this flight. Okay, I just have to get to the front of the plane, that's it. Just walk, find a flight attendant, find out what's happening, ask for help for the girl, sleep for the rest of the flight, and that's it, I'm home. We had about an hour left to fly, or so I thought. But when I looked at my watch, I realized we should have landed long ago. But the plane showed no signs of descending. My head began to fill with theories again, each one more terrifying than the last. What if, by some incredible coincidence, I got on the wrong plane and now I was flying who knows where, to Vladivostok? Or something happened at the airport and they won't let us land? Or we can't land because the plane is broken and now it will circle until it runs out of fuel and then we'll crash somewhere in the middle of the taiga. I tried to shake off the sticky fear that was twisting and squeezing my insides. Jeez, I've watched too many disaster movies. It'll probably turn out I just got the time wrong. I staggered on. The back of my head was exploding with pain. My vision was darkening, but the turbulence had subsided a bit. I quickly reached the curtains separating ordinary people like me from business class and yanked them open. 8 seats. In one of the chairs sat a fat guy in an unbuttoned shirt with a hairy chest and a gold chain around his neck. That same neck was adorned with a wide gash from which blood was slowly oozing, dripping onto his white silk shirt. Drops of blood were tangled in the hairs on his chest. Blood covered literally everything. The scariest part was that the guy was just sitting there, playing on his phone, as if nothing was happening. Next to him sat a woman, a young blonde with vacant eyes, in a short robe. A piece of some rebar was sticking out of her chest, but she was looking in a compact mirror and preening, as if she had just picked out a great Halloween costume. Maybe they really are having some kind of masquerade here. It's not October, I thought automatically, though my body and brain seemed to shut down from what I was seeing. I realized this was no masquerade when I looked to the right. A truly gruesome sight awaited me in the next row. 4 people were sitting there. 3 boys about 10 years old, and a girl, very small, maybe about 5. It was hard to tell because the children had no hair. Bald skulls, sagging, burnt skin, peeling off their small bodies in strips. Pieces of synthetic fabric were melted into their flesh. One of the boys had a missing eye. He winked at me with his remaining one and whispered conspiratorially, "Mister, there wasn't enough room for us back there, so we're here. You won't tell, will you? We're not even supposed to be here. Don't tell anyone, okay?" I felt nauseous. I felt vomit rising in my throat. All rational thought vanished. I don't remember how, but I took a few more steps and found myself at the cockpit door,
and then started pounding on it frantically with my hands. "Open up! What's going on here? I'm going crazy! Help! Help me!" "Ladies and gentlemen," the PA system hissed, "this is your captain speaking." Finally, I thought. Finally, everything will be okay, since the pilots are there. "We ask you to remain calm and stay in your seats. Due to unforeseen weather conditions, our aircraft will be making an emergency landing. The situation is under control. We ask everyone to remain in their seats." At that exact second, the sound of an alarm blared in the background, and the plane lurched so hard that I fell and nearly broke my arm. So sharp. Then the speakers cut out abruptly. People continued to sit calmly in their seats despite the alarm. Many didn't even bother to fasten their seatbelts. Calm down, calm down. Aren't they tired of this yet? They could have come up with something more interesting. The guy from business class grumbled, not looking up from his phone. "Yeah, this is the 8th time we've heard this," his companion added with annoyance. Oxygen masks dropped from above, but no one touched them. Some passengers waved them away like annoying flies. The 8th time. What does all this mean? We're about to crash. What's wrong with them? I brought my hand to my head, ran it through my hair, trying to muffle the pain that was hammering like a jackhammer in every cell of my inflamed skull. Instead of hair, my fingers touched something sticky. Not blood. No, it was brain matter. Half of my skull was gone. The back of my head simply wasn't there. In its place was a bloody mess of bone fragments, brain, and something hot and disgusting. So we all really did crash. I finally realized. Images started to surface in my memory. The plane shaking, us crashing into something, the plane's skin buckling inward, and the debris destroying everyone sitting on the left side. The girl, the one who was calling for her dad, shrieks in terror as the man next to her is ground up by the plane's debris. All that's left is blood and bone fragments. The flight attendant, who looked at me with that strange smile, she tries to help, but a metal rod impales her right through the throat. The officer, who sat straight and proper the whole flight, suddenly slumps over. A stroke, I realized. Many people just lost consciousness and didn't see the horror unfold, like Anya, whom I had met half an hour earlier. But not me. I was conscious and saw the nightmare happening until the ceiling behind me collapsed. I saw the children screaming as their skin melted in the dancing flames. I saw the all-consuming fire, the wreckage, the pieces of flesh, blood, and fear. Suddenly, everything went dark. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope your flight with our airline will be easy and pleasant. I snapped my eyes open. If you enjoyed this story, please support my channel with a like and a subscription. See you next time.